Hello and welcome to another episode of the Imperial Collector. I am Oliver Dean McCurry Jr., the Imperial Collector, and as always in this season we're going to be unboxing a Hot Toys exclusive figure. This is going to be Captain Rex from Star Wars The Clone Wars TV show. It was animated, but they've made these to where they look like they were live action, which is pretty cool. Now this box, again, it came from eBay. It's been banged up a little bit, but there's a picture of the actual figure, which is pretty cool. He does have a jetpack. Also, there's different head sculpts. And Tamar Morrison, again, because there are clones of Jango Fett. And so they have a good likeness of him as well. And we'll go ahead and unbox this figure. Now, this is one that I've been looking forward to because I've been wanting to open up a clone trooper or stormtrooper, and I haven't ordered any or had any until this one. The reason I got this one is because I did want a set that went along with the Clone Wars. It's pretty cool how they made them look live action. And like I said before, I've got an Ahsoka Tano from the Clone Wars series as well as an Anakin. And they really do look like their characters in the animation brought into real life, which is pretty cool. Again, these cards that they have in there, kind of like a cover over top of the figure, is just amazing. Where it shows, the actual figure there as well. It's pretty awesome. Okay, well, starting off, we'll go with some. Looks like there's some accessories here in this little accessories pack, as well as there's some accessories that are in there with the actual figure that we'll go over in a few moments. So to start out with, like I said, he does have a jetpack right here. It looks like it is one of the magnetic jetpacks. Very awesome, very awesome. He does have the fire there that comes out of the jetpack. You'll see it like that. It comes out. And it's really neat, the coloring and the scoring on the jetpack you'll see there. Pretty awesome. Standard blaster for a clone. It does have like a stand where if they were at a ledge or something like that, they could hold it and stand and aim it down at someone, or just keep it up like that too when they're using it as a regular blaster. He does have his standard blasters. Different ranks get different blasters. He's a captain, so he's got two, and he'll have holsters that you can put those in. Now, I didn't know it about this figure, but evidently he's got one of those eye adjusters like we saw with the Ahsoka Tano from the Mandalorian series figure. So we'll see when we're unboxing this if Tamar Morrison, the head sculpt there for him, is adjustable. The eyes are, you can move them around. We'll see. I didn't actually know that. So let's take the rest of this out. Now, I don't remember this from the Mandalorian. Not Mandalorian. We've done too many of those. I don't remember this from Clone Wars, but it came with a with Ahsoka Tano's guard helmet. I don't remember Captain Rex ever wearing this helmet. Maybe it's meant so you can maybe interchange it to where it's like he's one of the 501st. I'm not sure, but it's kind of cool. It came with one of those helmets from Ahsoka Tano's clone trooper guard that she had her own. I remember the 501st are the ones that went with Anakin, and actually went with Anakin to the temple to exterminate the Jedi. And we see that in, Revenge of the Sith, Star Wars Episode 3, which actually just recently celebrated 25 years. My son and I went and saw that in the theater again. It was pretty awesome being able to see it. Now, I'm not going to have Captain Rex displayed with his helmet off, because Captain Rex has a pretty unique helmet, and there's some decoration on there that you'll see. But look at this head sculpt of Tamar Morrison as Captain Rex. Now, what's interesting is they're all clones, but they would all do something a little different. Like he dyed his hair blonde and then it was cut very short. You can tell that this is blonde hair. It's just been cut down really short. He's even got a 5 o'clock shadow. I mean, these figures are just amazing. The ears look great. It's a good head sculpt. Like I said, I almost wish I had two of them so I could display one with the helmet and one without. Now here's the base. That's interesting. There's a little bit different base here. I haven't seen this base yet. In the bases that we've gotten a different one with every one. It's very similar as far as the way it works, but this one looks like it could be the deck of like an Imperial ship, or maybe like Coruscant, like flooring on Coruscant. Very cool. Again, it has this. I didn't know that detached. Wow. Well, I just learned something. These nameplates detach off of these. I did not know that. So I guess you could change the bases out. So this one says, if you can see it, let me get it to the right angle there. It says Captain Rex on there. And of course, Star Wars like the other ones have. I think right there you can see it. That's pretty cool. And it also has one of those flight stands. Like some of the other figures have had, because he does have a jetpack, and you can be able to put him in a flying stance if you wanted to, or something like that. Again, I think in this one, the way that I'm going to display him with certain other figures, I'm not going to have him in a flight mode. You really have to push down to get this thing on here. I'm not sure how far it needs to go, so I'll just leave it right there for now. And we will take a look at what we've come here to take a look at. The actual figure. He does have different hands. And if you'll notice, if you were one to watch the Clone Wars series, you'll know that he actually have little etch marks on there, hash marks, where when he killed a droid, he marked it off on there. So that was pretty cool. Well, he kept up with it. It kind of reminds me of, I think his name was Victor Zaz from Batman comics and some of the animated shows. He was actually a serial killer. Now, of course, Captain Rex is not a serial killer, but he was actually a serial killer, and that's the way he kept up with his victims. He would do hash marks in his skin, so that's kind of morbid. But let's see here. Now this is interesting, just reading some things on here. His pack here is magnetic, which I'm sure his jetpack is too. Yes, it is. That is very neat. He has the holsters for his guns, his dual guns. Like I said, different interchangeable hands. His gauntlets also have the hash marks on them. This is just an awesome figure as well. Like most of the figures in this line, he also has, like the Mandalorians have, his viewfinder that would let him see a holographic display to fire at targets. He's got the hash marks on his helmet, as you'll see there. I mean, this figure is weathered. I mean, it looks dirty because that's the way they were. You know, they were on, a lot of times they were on planets that, had a lot of dirt and grime and sand, and, they didn't get their armor cleaned a lot, They were out there fighting battles and fighting a war. And so it's a dirty business. And so you could definitely see that with these figures. And it's just awesome. The way these figures are. Now, I'm going to display him with his rifle. And like I said, there are many head sculpts there as well. Now, at some point, I don't remember this from Clone Wars, but I'm sure it's accurate. It looks like that his armor's been damaged, and he's welded it back together. You can see there's weld marks, like right here, right here. They're supposed to look like welding marks, and on his chest plate, it does look like it's been welded. That is crazy, the detail in these figures. I mean, they really are just, every one we do just amazes me a little more. Now, these are interesting. These are the first kind of holsters I've seen that have been a different material than pleather. These are plastic, but that makes sense that they would have, their armor is basically a thick plastic, or I don't know what they actually are intended to be on Star Wars, but it's some type of plastic armor that their holsters would be too for his guns. And you'll see that there on his weapons. There's the back of him. Again, very detailed figure. Very detailed for the Clone Wars figures there. I love it. This is probably one of my favorite figures we've done so far, just because of all the detail. I mean, the scoring on this figure, the color of his armor. It's weathered. It's not brand new. A lot of times I've gotten figures, and they look, they are brand new, so they look brand new. But this is made to where it looks like, he's actually been out fighting a battle. He didn't just, come from Walmart or wherever you might have bought a figure. So that's really awesome. Well, I'm going to get him displayed on his stand and get him set up to go up there, and we'll get ready to unbox those other figures in the future from the Clone Wars with Anakin and Ahsoka Tano. In our next episode, let's do Grand Admiral Thrawn. That's one I've been waiting on. That'll be a good one. That's a deluxe figure. Comes with a lot of accessories. Some very cool accessories. So we'll do him next. Thank you all for joining me here. This was a little shorter episode, but we had this great clone trooper. Might get some more troopers in the future. I'm not sure whether they be clone or stormtroopers. But these are definitely great. Definitely put together great. And may the Force be with you. Like and subscribe. We'll see you next time.